Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be talking about VAT rates in QuickBooks Online and which ones should you be using and shouldn't you be using. This is a really important topic to get right, so please make sure that you watch this video to understand exactly how and which of those VAT rates is right for you and your business. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Aaron Patrick. I am a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer with fancy new logo, that QuickBooks chap on the internet, head of accounts here at Bookkeeping, and also your friendly podcaster who goes live each and every Monday morning at 8:30 AM for Ask the Accountant. Now in today's video, we're going to go straight into the fact that in QuickBooks Online, there are various different types of VAT codes that will come as standard. And there's more to look at as well if you really want to look into different VAT schemes and everything else that goes with it. But let's concentrate on the ones that are there and try and figure out exactly what they're for. So in my example here, I'm just about to put an expense in on QuickBooks and I've got the opportunity to choose 4 different VAT rates. Now I've tried to split this down to show you kind of the 4 most popular ones, but we're going to be looking at other ones in a moment. So what's the first one? Well, the first one to talk about is probably going to be the easiest one, and that's the 20% VAT. This is your standard VAT, the most popular VAT. And if you think about what VAT is, it's value added tax. And the idea is that if we're going to sell something as a business and we become VAT registered or forced to become VAT registered, then when we sell that item, we should be adding VAT on top. And the idea then is if we add VAT on top of it, that gets collected, paid off to HMRC, everyone's happy. But as a business, if you are VAT registered, then you get to claim that VAT back if you're suffering the VAT, as long as you're making VAT supplies yourself. So the 20% VAT, 20% standard, means that it's all designed to be that 20% VAT has been applied to it. Now, if you're unsure if whatever transaction you have has VAT on it, the best thing to do is ask for a VAT invoice and it's going to tell you exactly what it's going to be. And if you do an expense, you just need to match, because the idea is that you should have proof that whatever it is that you've incurred VAT on, you can prove that and put it into QuickBooks Online. So 20% VAT is used for the most standard part of VAT when you can see that VAT has been added on top. Then gets the complicated thing. If you look here, we've got 0, no VAT, and exempt. And if you look at the percentages, we've got 0%, 0%, 0%. Huh? Yeah, this is where it gets quite complicated. But it is easy to understand when you think about the logic behind it. The easiest one out of all this is the no VAT section. No VAT is used when what we would class the transaction as being out of scope. Therefore, it has nothing to do with VAT whatsoever. Think about if you're going to take drawings or direct loan out of the business. Think about if you're going to pay an employee. Think about if you're going to transfer money from one account to the other and it's created a transaction. In those scenarios, you're not buying and selling transactions, you're not buying anything. What you're doing there is you're moving money basically from one pot to another, or from one pot to your employee. So VAT has nothing to do with that. No VAT should be only used and exclusively used for transactions that have no VAT transactions whatsoever. So paying employees, looking at paying yourself, looking at transferring money, they're the sort of transactions you'll be thinking about for no VAT purposes. Please do be careful with this one. It's one of the biggest mistakes that can happen when realistically you've put no VAT when it should actually have a VAT element on it, either 0 or exempt. Speaking of 0 and exempt, well, what's the difference between the two? So if no VAT is when it's completely outside the scope, when do we use 0? When do we use exempt? Well, basically, HMRC will dictate what transactions are exempt and what transactions are 0. The easiest way to think about the difference between the two is an exempt transaction is exempt and always will be. A 0 transaction at the moment is classed as a 0%, but there's nothing stopping the government this time next year to have that at 1%, 2%, 5%, whatever they decided to do. So at the moment 0 is 0, which makes sense, and at the moment you don't have to add VAT on them, but HMRC could one day turn that into a percentage and put 1% on it or whatever they want to. Whereas exempt, well, that's exempt from VAT and that's all it can ever be. So the transactions are really important. The other thing that's really important between the two difference of the two is that a 0 transaction means that you actually have VAT on, but it's actually at 0% at this point in time, meaning that if you're selling 0 rated goods, then actually you're in a really good position because you sell that good and only have to add 0 VAT on top. Happy days. And also means any VAT you incur against that transaction, you get to claim it back. Problem with exempt is you're not charging VAT. You're exempt from VAT at that point in time. So if you're selling something with exempt VAT on, then you can't claim the VAT back related to that service. It's really complicated. It comes down to what's a scheme called partial exemption at that point if you sell between exempt and non-exempt supplies. But ultimately that's for another video. Basically, from your point of view, you need to be careful about making sure you know which is which. An example of an exempt supply is a postal service. So anything from Royal Mail has full exempt. Most charities are exempt. Lottery ticket sales, they're normally exempt. Bingo, betting, they're going to be exempt. And most financial services and bank charges and things like that will be exempt as well. And in most circumstances, insurances as well. Whereas zero, well, you're looking at things that are classed as zero and they're designed to be non-luxury items. So things like cycle helmets should be zero rated. Children's clothing, books, magazines and newspapers, meat. And let's really emphasize that non-luxury items, getting your aircraft repaired and maintained. I don't make the rules. But ultimately, that's what it's all about. You've got to be making sure that whatever transaction you have and you're recording QuickBooks, make sure you got the receipt, the VATable invoice, and make sure that you're putting the right one in. Especially when it comes to anything that hasn't got VAT on, so the 0%, the exempt and the no VAT. Just make a little mental note exactly about what that's going to be. But that's not the end of the story. You see, if I go to the manage rate options here, I've got load more rates and I can add multiple rates as well. Basically, you're going to have all of these options. So for example, the 12.5% that's floating around, that's available to you. If you're in construction industry, you've got reverse charges rates to think about there. Then there is the option to think of PVA imports, well, if you're importing goods from inside the EU. And don't forget as well the 5% option, which is a reduced rate. It's used for only certain goods, like there's certain children's items, there's certain heat and light costs that will be related to it. Basically, you will see it as 5%, and then that's what you want to choose to be able to put that 5% in. And then start thinking about making your own. Like for example, I've done one here for mileage inclusive, which will automatically calculate for every 45p that we do, 3p of that will go against VAT. Now, I've had to create that. How did I do it? Well, I come out of whatever it is I was doing at the time, and I'm going to go to my taxes area and VAT. From the taxes area, I'm going to go to the edit VAT option, and I'm going to go to edit rates. From here, I got that same list that I can go through and make sure I'm happy with adding things and taking things away by using the on-off switch just there. And I would really consider curating that list to only the ones that you need. Don't put anything on that you don't need, because it's just going to be an extra click that you have to go through to be able to put it in right. And the risk is you accidentally click the wrong transaction. So only have the ones that you definitely need there. And then at the top right hand corner, if you need to create a new one, you've got the add tax rate. From here, you get to choose the tax name. So I'm going to do 12.5%. I get to put a description. And then I get to choose the agency, HMRC in my case, if it's to purchases, sales or both, what the percentage is going to be and what account you want to do. Most of the time it's always going to be liability. Then you get to say what the net amount on the VAT return is going to be. So in this case it's going to be purchases, and I can press save, and 12.5% is ready and waiting to be used going forward. So it's really easy to add your own, especially if you've got partial exemption or anything like that, which is an added complication when it comes to VAT, but it's crucial you get it right each and every time. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. How easy do you think the VAT situation in QuickBooks is? Is there any way of making it better? I believe there is in my case. I feel like they've done a big job in making it better now. And the fact that it is actually online means that we get some of these updates appearing automatically for us. For example, the CIS one just appeared overnight. The 12.5% was there for us to use when we needed it. But I still feel like there could be a better way of making sure that the right code is done. I think that's down to AI. So I'm really looking forward to what the future brings when it comes to VAT going forward. But let me know in the comments what you think. Again, thank you so much for this video. Don't forget, if you're looking for tips and tricks on QuickBooks Online, you're already in the right place. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you let me know in the comments if there's anything video related that you want us to cover. My name's been Aaron Patrick. Hopefully this video has been useful. If it was, you know what to do, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again. Bye for now.
play a little